Hello and welcome to the lecture on display inline or block. So we have seen how to create the box, how to float them and how to position them. Let's understand how to display those boxes inline or in a block. Okay, so I'm going to create one more example folder here, call it display. Okay, let's create a file here. Okay, let's open this up and we'll put our boilerplate code there. Say display. Okay, this will create a very simple example to understand the concept better. Okay, what we'll do, we'll work around with span tags, right, and div tags. Okay, let's understand. Hello, this is first span, second and third span. Similarly, you can have the div tags. So let's look at the output and I'll explain you what is display inline means. Okay, if you look at the output, the span tags never have a new line. That's the difference between div and a span, and div always create a new line for your HTML tags. Okay, why don't we change this behavior? We will change div not to have the new line and span to have a new line. Okay, that's the property we're going to change. And you know, every tag has a box, right? You can control that box. Now the box behavior for span is don't add a new line, and a box behavior for div is to have a new line. Let's change that behavior. Okay, it's a very simple one line code that you have to write. If you say span as display block, it's add the new line. If you add the div as display inline, you will remove that block, right? With just one line of code, you're actually trying to change the behavior of the HTML tags. You understand that everything is a box. Okay, every element on the HTML page is a block. By changing the block as block, display as block, then you automatically adds a new line. When you want to add all the boxes one after the other, you use display as inline. All right, so that's a very simple example to understand how to use display block and display inline. Let's create a simple menu to understand display and inline blocks. We'll say display inline block. We open this up, delete all the CSS here. Let's create a simple menu. Okay, so let's add some styling to it now. The body color I'm doing as white, and to li I'll say display block. So when you say display block, it adds a new line. So let's add a background color of blue. Okay, so now that you have your items, your list items, and then it's all in a block, right? If you make it inline, okay, they become inline. Okay, that's how you basically control the blocks. Remember this concept very well. The display will display inline and block. If you want to have a block, right, these are blocks, and if you want to have inline, like in a one line, okay, it comes like this. Okay, there's one challenge here. If you want to add a width and a height, let's say I want to have a width and I want to add an height, is actually not applicable to this. It's not trying to apply the height and the width to the menu, right, to the boxes. For this you have to mention something called as inline block. Okay, when you use display inline block, then you can apply height and the width. It has both the properties of a block and an inline. So understand when to use inline block. When you want to have a width and a height controlled, you can use inline block. This is inline, and it also work as a block, right? You can specify the width and the height for the blocks, not for the inline ones. And you can have inline and a block. Inline will put all the elements in one line. Block will add new lines to it. So this is one of the classic example of how to add, when you work with menus, how to add the menus line by line or vertical. Okay, so that's about display inline, display block, and display inline block, and I'll see you in the next one.